There's a lot of difficult days ahead.
Wiping out homes and businesses, leaving millions of people trying to rebuild.
It's ruined, and then you have to start all over again. And honestly, where do you start?
And Coloradans are still recovering 9 months after the Marshall Fire.
It was a big impact for us to lose the home that some of our kids grew up in.
We're seeing the progress being made and how one man is part of the rebuilding process.
It's very exciting to see that there's a neighborhood and a community that's eventually going to come back.
And we start today at 5 with a weather change. I think somebody just flipped a switch because rain and storms are moving through the metro.
Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson joins us now. Mike, this is the start of a wet and cooler weekend.
Indeed. We've got a big rumble of thunder right over our head just at the top of the newscast. So there's a cold front moving into Colorado from the west. Scattered showers and thunderstorms in the west, and also now developing over the Front Range, foothills, and the Denver metro area. Nothing severe, but a pretty decent thunder and lightning event going on, heading up over Commerce City, up toward DIA, and right in the downtown area as well. This is what it looks like outside at the moment from our camera out at City Park. Scattered showers and thunderstorms this evening, and then a chance of showers over the weekend. Mountains could see some snow.
All right, thank you, Mike. Devastation in Florida. We are getting a better look at the damage the then Category 4 Hurricane Ian left behind. Neighborhoods are flattened, trees are down, debris is everywhere.
It's just unbelievable. The Fort Myers area was hit the hardest. Aerial views show Sanibel Island shorefront cottages wiped away and roofs completely torn off. Some buildings up to 5 stories high were washed away.
In northern and central parts of Florida, flooding right now is a big concern with impact statewide. Ian is likely the largest natural disaster in Florida's history.
Nearly 3,000 federal responders are in Florida to help with recovery efforts as first responders work on rescues.
And we know at least 17 people in the U.S. have died. That number could go even higher. And we know millions of people are still without power.
Ian made landfall as a Category 1 storm just south of Myrtle Beach this afternoon. There is good news, however. It's now a post-tropical cyclone as it heads up the East Coast.
And President Joe Biden is pledging federal support for people affected, and officials say it could take months, maybe even years to rebuild.
Morgan Norwood is live from Venice, Florida. Morgan, what kind of damage are you seeing there?
Guys, this area is hit pretty hard. I mean, just take a look at the scene right behind me. Here's the backstory on that. A transformer blew during the height of the storm. It caught fire, then spread to several homes here, and this is what's left. Millions tonight in Florida still reeling in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian.
After decimating parts of southwest Florida, Ian making landfall in Georgetown, South Carolina, with Category 1 winds of 85 miles per hour, staring down the South Carolina coast, kicking up rough surf on Tybee Island, Georgia. While the southeast feels the wrath of this storm, Ian's devastation in parts of Florida becoming painfully clear.
We started to see the water coming through the windows. I would say it'd take a few days to get everything clean.
Across the state, hundreds of water rescues.
25 helicopters, 25 boats, and over 1,200 of what we call high water vehicles that can really get into those remote areas through water to help rescue people.
And watch as crews pulled this man from piles of rubble and debris in Fort Myers. His wife still missing. In Naples, the power of water on full display. Further inland, a flooding catastrophe, water swallowing homes and businesses in Orlando's Orange County.
I just want the people of Florida to know we see what you're going through and we're with you. We're going to do everything we can for you.
As Florida races to recover, 1,000 FEMA personnel deployed, supplying millions of liters of water, meals, and hundreds of generators.
There's a lot of people that are going to need a lot of help. FEMA has individual assistance for this community, which is important, but they're only allowed to do certain things, so we really want to enlist the help of the private sector to be able to help us and help people get back on their feet.
Yeah, a lot of help needed here. People in this community among the millions, 2 million people without power statewide. The death toll now stands at 33. Officials do expect that to climb. Guys.
Now, Morgan, you made it through this storm in Tampa, thankfully, but now you're in an area that took a direct hit. What else are you seeing and how are people there holding up?
Yeah, you know, it's like night and day. Not to say that Tampa didn't get hit pretty hard. There was some damage, but as I was driving into Venice, I mean, just homes leveled, businesses destroyed. And then just take a look at what's behind me here, just utter devastation. And all day long, we've seen family after family come back to this. And it's really heartbreaking to see. They really have a long road of recovery ahead, guys.
And you're right. It is heartbreaking to see all of that. Morgan Norwood, thank you so much. And Ian is one of the most powerful hurricanes to make landfall in the U.S. And already its economic toll is staggering. Officials are still assessing the damage, obviously, but early estimates are nearing $70 billion. And that's less than half of Hurricane Katrina. That was from 2005, which did $161 billion in damage. Of course, help is on the way. You heard President Joe Biden approved a request to expedite a major disaster declaration. More than 8,700 people have already registered with FEMA for help.
Yeah, obviously they need all the help they could get. So if you'd like to help people affected by Hurricane Ian, Denver 7 Gives is partnering with the Scripps Howard Fund for Hurricane Relief. Our teams in Florida will work with local organizations to make sure your donation goes to those in need. We're making donating very easy here. You can text STORM to 5155 and follow the prompts. You can also scan the QR code on your screen or visit denver7.com/hurricane relief.
And we know it will be a long recovery and rebuilding process in Florida. It is something Boulder County knows all too well. Communities there are still going through the rebuilding process, and we're talking 9 months after the Marshall Fire. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is joining us live from a Louisville neighborhood. So how's it looking there, Christian?
We are seeing a lot of progress in the Harper Lake neighborhood here in Louisville. Several homes under construction. Today we spoke to one man who is helping with those rebuilding efforts.
This is the last thing I thought I would be doing this year. It's been going well.
Nails and lumber coming together to frame this home in Louisville.
Typically have anywhere between 1 or 2 and 4 or 5 friends that stop in during the day that help me. The main house has 3 bedrooms, and then there's a finished basement, and there's 3 bathrooms.
To replace one that burned down 9 months ago.
It was a big impact for us to lose the home that some of our kids grew up in. This home was to be part of our retirement, and so we lost that.
Having started the Boulder Habitat for Humanity, Kurt Fernhaber knows a thing or two about building houses.
I was a contractor years ago, and so I've kept up my skills. I just haven't done this, professionally in a very long time. Well, when we found out how much insurance money we were getting and how short we would be if I went out and hired someone to build it, I thought I would do it myself to try to save that money.
It wasn't just homes lost.
I think it's really disrupted the established community that was there.
As for rebuilding communities, the town of Louisville has issued 48 permits for new builds, 42 issued in Superior, and 13 in unincorporated Boulder County.
There's been a lot of progress in the last 2 weeks. There's been a lot of foundations going up, other homes going up. Ours was the 3rd home to go up in this neighborhood, and now there's several others.
And he's hoping the strong community bond will return too.
My kids, who are in their mid to late 20s now, their best friends were little kids in this neighborhood, 25, 30 years ago. I'm really hoping that what we had can be built back again.
And there is still a lot of work to be done, but he is hoping that his home will be finished early next summer. We're live in Louisville this evening. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
It's great to see signs of progress out there. Thank you, Christian. And earlier this month, Denver 7 Gives launched a housing fund with our partners at A Precious Child to help people rebuild. And the organization has already approved and sent out payments for 19 families or individuals. Another 17 are pending approval. Families are eligible for up to $5,000 for housing and rebuilding, and people who want to apply can reach out to the organization A Precious Child directly. And the Louisville Historical Society wants to hear stories about the Marshall Fire. It is holding a workshop at the city's public library next month. Museum staff and volunteers will record stories in video, audio, or written formats. And the museum is hoping that by sharing personal stories from events during and after the fire, future generations will understand the impact on their community. People can also share their stories online through the Marshall Fire Project, which you can find on Louisville's website.
Douglas County is preparing for a disaster like the Marshall Fire. They're holding a massive fire training exercise tomorrow in Franktown where they'll simulate a fast-moving fire to test certain plans and protocols.
A Denver police officer is expected to recover from a gunshot wound to the neck. Police say he was shot during a confrontation at Sheridan and Midway in Broomfield yesterday. Broomfield investigators say the DPD officer was confronting a person of interest when shots were fired, and officers killed that suspect. As for the DPD officer, we're working to learn more about that person, but we do know that he has worked for the department for 20 years.
He can't seize his neighbor's territory and get away with it.
President Biden is sending a veiled threat to Russian President Vladimir Putin after Russia annexes parts of Ukraine.
Putin's actions are a sign he's struggling.
Some wet weather coming in for the weekend, along with cooler temperatures.
And a popular wilderness area in the high country is making changes to its camping system.